y'all, it's your girl Cordnie Ellese. Welcome to my channel, Mommyhood and Entrepreneurship. And today we are doing our Mommy Monday series, y'all, where I am going to be talking to you guys about something that has to do with me as a mommy / as an entrepreneur as a mom. Today is not really a lot on the entrepreneur side as a mom, but it is kind of affected by that. So today's Mommy's Monday, we are going to actually be revisiting what my New Year's resolutions were as a mom, so I can make sure that I am on board with those things for the rest of the year. Okay, make sure that these New Year's resolutions weren't just said and thought up and written down in vain. So y'all, let's go and get on into it. I will be reading from a list. Okay, I have it right here because I want to say it exactly how I put it in my New Year's resolution. So my very first one, it was about being better at listening. So I wanted to be better as a listener when it comes to my children, y'all. When it comes to my children, especially my older child, which is my son, but now even my daughter, y'all. My daughter is talking up a storm, full sentences and all. You can understand pretty much everything that she's saying. She's very clear about what she wants and what her needs are. And sometimes when you have a 3-year-old or even a 9-year-old for my son, you kind of view what they're saying as not really all the way up to par with what you think because you're older and you're wiser and you think you know everything. But what I have been realizing prior to making these New Year's resolutions is that my son was feeling unheard. And then I realized later on that my daughter had needs that were completely different from mine, completely different from my son's, completely different from pretty much all of my friends and family members. I just had to listen to them because they are completely different from me as a person. Yes, they are my children and we do have some things in common. But what I realized is that I needed to listen to them. And y'all, it actually made me think about something. When I was pregnant with them, they were actually who they were in my womb, the same person that they are now. I'm not really sure if I worded that the way that I really needed to word that. My grammar be all over the place, y'all. But they're the same person now that they were back in my womb. So when I think about it, my son was super excited because I was very emotional. I was super excited. He was very active. I used to run and do all of these different things. I was so social while I was pregnant with him and just super extroverted while I was pregnant with him. And I realized a lot of those things still hold true. My mood swings were kind of up and down. I really wanted to talk a lot, y'all. Like I really had the desire to be heard. Like I wanted everybody to know what was going on with me, what I was doing. You know, I was just really just in everybody's little something. And when I was pregnant with him, I just wanted my hands to be in everything. And also when I was pregnant with my daughter, y'all, I was spicy, I was feminine, I was super feminine. Like I wanted my nails done all the time. Sometimes, you know, I can get my nails done, but y'all, I'm like, you know, I like it sometimes, and sometimes I'm just like, it's one of the things that I can chop off when I need to save money. But y'all, when I was pregnant, that was not one of the things I wanted to ever chop off on. Okay, my feet were done all the time. I smell real good all the time, y'all. When I say smell good, I don't be smelling bad now. I had on all kinds of perfume. I had all kinds of different accessories, which I still like to do these days. And you know, I always had on my makeup, like always, every single day. It was part of my routine. I didn't even go to work without my makeup bag in case I didn't finish it by the time I went to work. My hair was always super laid. I tried all these different hairstyles. I was super feminine. Like the way I would sit, the way I would stand. I would wear florals and I didn't even like wearing florals. Even now I'm kind of on and off about when and if I wear florals. And so back then it was all the florals, all the pink, all the everything. Before I even knew I was having a daughter, I knew I was having a daughter. I already said what her name was going to be. I'd already had her name since 11th grade anyway, but I knew that she was going to be the girl that belonged to that name. She was everything that we thought and more. Super emotional, super sensitive, super spicy, super quiet. You know, I really wasn't feeling everybody and into everything. I had goofy moments, but for the most part, I was withdrawn and stayed to myself and focused on whatever I was focusing on. I loved to learn during that time. I wrote a lot during that time, and y'all, she is all of those things. She loves to write. She's very introverted. She's spicy. You know, she has her goofy moments, but she pays attention to everything, learns everything quickly. Y'all, she is super feminine. She loves her fashion. She loves her florals. She loves lip gloss and purses and all this other kind of things. And she's only 3, but she is the exact same person that she was. And I didn't even realize it while I was pregnant. And I really didn't even really start to think about it until I made those goals of listening to my son. And I realized that in me listening to my son means that I also have to remember the things that I heard back when I was pregnant with him or when he was a baby, the different kind of lessons that I had to learn about him. Same thing with her. So now I am intently listening to them and valuing their perspectives on things, making sure that I am paying attention to those things. Going forward, I want to continue to do that. And I will talk about how I plan on doing that in a moment. So this next goal is I want to enhance the way I speak around and outside of my children. Now, this was super huge because I was saying different things like darn and like little curse words every now and then and things like that. And I still do it every now and then, but just not as much, pretty much at all. I've really gotten good about catching myself, not just around my children, but also outside of my children, holding myself accountable, because I don't believe that adults are the only people allowed to do things wrong. I think that if we're teaching our children a certain thing, it's probably because that's what we want them to be as adults, and that's the kind of respect that they need to show to not just adults, but to people in general. And so I should also be following those different things. So heck, darn, fart, stupid. Well, I never really said stupid anyway. All of those kind of words that I don't think that they should say, I also try my hardest not to say them, because it's important that we don't just hold other people accountable, but we also hold ourselves accountable, even as adults. I don't believe in the whole because I'm grown type of thing. There are some things that adults are allowed to do, the kids are not allowed to do, just because the age does matter for those particular things. But I do feel like as adults, as parents, as people who have gone through different things, sometimes we abuse that. A lot of times we abuse that whole I'm grown type of scenario. Okay, so I want to make sure that my integrity is the same as what I want to teach my children. That rolls over into how I speak as well. In addition to that, I said that I wanted my children to learn the language. Now, I have done this in a very lazy way. I've put on a bunch of different shows that have Spanish on it. I've decided that Spanish is going to be that very first other language, but I really haven't gone gung-ho in that. So that is something that I want to make sure that I'm focusing on for the rest of this year. Also something that I want to focus on for myself, because especially since my daughter is half Puerto Rican, I want to make sure that she's respected within that community and that she does know Spanish, and that she knows Spanish the way that other Puerto Rican people know Spanish. So I want her to learn the Puerto Rican dialect of Spanish in addition to the actual overall taught Spanish, and I want her to be able to read it and write it and just to be a part of that culture. And my son, I want him to be able to know a bunch of different languages as well. So as a mother, it's just easier for me to teach the two of them at the same time. And my son actually showed interest in it while I was pregnant, because I was surrounded by other Hispanics and Latinos who were speaking these different things. And he just thought that it was so cool that they were speaking a language that he knew nothing about. So he showed interest in it back then when he was 5 years old. So I want to make sure that since he showed interest in it then, that I also indulge in that now. Since I'm going to be teaching it to them, and well, not really me teaching it, but since we're going to be learning it together, I also want to make sure that I'm a part of that as well. And then the most important thing that I had a New Year's resolution for as a mom is that I wanted to get closer to Christ with my children. And I really think that we have actually really started working on that. Okay, so my son, he really kind of leads the random devotions. We don't really have a certain formula or ritual that we do every single day, every single morning, or every single night, but that is something that I would like to incorporate. But as for now, we're just talking about God more, pray more. Randomly, we'll read different scriptures and just discuss it. If we hear certain things, we'll discuss it and we'll talk about it a lot more. That's kind of been our ease into it. So I just kind of want to double down on that and start creating habits of where we'll read to each other, where we can pray with each other more and get more excited about Christ, do more Christian activities together. I started bringing my daughter to church with me more, even though it feels a little bit more inconvenient because it kind of deters my attention away from the actual sermon happening at the moment. But luckily they also stream it live, so I can go back and watch it later. But I do like to be immersed in the service. But what I started realizing was when I brought her, not only was it cute to dress her up in her cute little dresses and go, it was starting to teach her how she needs to act in the house of God, or in a place where everyone is doing a certain thing. So she needed to learn that when we go into a place where everyone is, paying attention and, sitting and understanding the environment, I wanted her to understand the different environments and be able to learn, okay, when I'm here, it is better for me to do this so that I can be respectful of the other people in this environment. And I just want her to be surrounded by the Holy Spirit and people praising God and giving a lot of attention to God. So I've been taking her more. I still send my son to church with my granny so I can make sure that he's on time while I'm trying to transition into bringing her, because it has been a little bit of a struggle getting there on time, and I both live an hour away and have to get her ready super early in the morning since there's only that one service. And y'all, to be quite honest, I was late when there wasn't only one service, and right around the time I started to learn to be on time, COVID happened. So now we're relearning that. And I want to make sure that I am putting God as a priority with my children and with myself, teaching them the behavior that they need to have towards Christ and being the example that I need to be in front of them. I don't think that they should only know Christ the way that I teach them, but I do understand that the things that you teach and embed in your children, as long as you're showing integrity and also following Christ the way that you're supposed to, it'll be a lot easier for them to understand why he is so important. So that is something that I really want to do. I've kind of gone over what my goals are going to be regarding those things for the rest of the year, but I want to kind of reiterate so that you guys can more so hold me accountable specifically to the things that I want to do. So I want to be better at listening. Like I said, I already started working on that, but what I'm doing now is I'm actually writing down the things that they say. So if I need to revisit it, and I'm journaling about my children more as well. So if I need to revisit it, then I can actually go back and look at that picture as a whole and not just with spotted memories of things. So that's my biggest goal into listening to them more, is to make sure that I'm writing down their different concerns and the things that I am noticing about them as a child as they're growing. I would like to be creative with my children once every single week. Y'all, I have not been doing that the way that I need to do. It is very important that we are creative with our children once per week. And I say once per week because it is hard, especially when you're traveling all the time. But even if I have to do it on Zoom, I am going to start setting aside time where we can either paint, draw, do something creative outside, go swimming and play games. I don't know. But whatever it is, I am going to plan it. And I'm going to plan it at the beginning of every single month. So right now, while we're at the beginning of this month, that is something that I am actually going to put on my to-do list to do tonight, is plan what I'm going to do for the rest of the year so that I can just go in and make it, easy for myself. Going to get that planning done. It's only 4 to 5 weeks out of the month anyway, so I can go on and make sure that I'm doing that. Then the next resolution is I wanted to enhance the way I speak around and outside of my children. So I forgot to say, part of the way that I've been enhancing how I speak is reading a lot more. So I'm actually wanting to start to read a lot more with my children so that we can all start enhancing our vocabulary as well. And that's also a creative something that we can do, per week, is all choose to read a book to each other. Even though my daughter can't read, maybe we can go over flashcards with her, or maybe we could just let her simulate reading, just enjoy the moment and the environment. But that is definitely something that I want to do. Maybe me and my children can also start to learn a new word and start to use that new word together and use that as a bonding moment. Then as far as my children learning another language, how do I actually plan on going about that? I want to find an app or some type of video online that we can look at together and learn and listen to that. Or maybe we can find some children appropriate type of music that we can listen to together and get used to doing those things and just really make it a part of our daily habit before and after school. It's not just listen to business things, but to also listen to a little bit of Spanish. And maybe we can learn some Spanish gospel, y'all. Maybe we can kind of fuse that one and the last thing together. And for the last one, getting closer to Christ with my children every single day. I think I want to somehow bring a scripture in that either my son can choose or I can choose, and we can just talk about it and do that. I really don't want to make it so ritualistic because I don't want him to get tired of it. So if we can find a way to incorporate God in a fun way, I think that would be really, really cool, and find a daily way or even every other daily type of way until we kind of get into the habit of doing it daily. But I want to make sure that we're not just learning to pray more and talk about God more, but we're actually learning what God has to say about everything. Y'all, those are my New Year's resolutions as mommy and how I plan to keep those things moving forward for the rest of the year. I'm saying them in this video because I want to make sure that I'm being held accountable, and I want to encourage you all to not just make your resolutions at the beginning of the year. but find ways to revisit those resolutions so that you can actually actively be working towards those things and have accomplished those things, or at least actively moving forward with those things on a consistent daily, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, and annual basis, you guys. I don't just want us to keep revisiting the same resolutions and not actually getting better and moving forward as people. So let me know what your mommy's New Year's resolutions are. If you're going to use any of these different things that I'll be doing. If so, just let me know in the comments so that we can go on and, you know, go through this good old forward movement together, y'all. I can't wait to see y'all in the comment section. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see y'all in the next video. Ciao.